This is Tom Dillon, the Lifetime Liberal, and today is Monday, September 26th, 2016, and the title of this rant will be Progressive Family Values from the article in the New York Times by Paul Krugman on the same day. So, what is Paul Krugman talking about here? So, progressive family values. What happens every single election cycle? The press demands that the candidates come out with new ideas to make things so much better. But in the meantime, what they're really doing is they're acting like ambulance chasers, you know, those lawyers that chase the ambulances to see if there's been a wreck so that they can defend those people. And actually only 1 out of 10 or whatever actually ends up being an accident or being a fire or anything like that. But they chase it. And that's what the press is doing. They're chasing everything because all they're looking for is a scandal. They're not really interested in the new ideas. And Dr. Krugman points out how many people paid attention to Hillary Clinton's, I believe it was, health care plan from last month. No one did. Because there's too much ambulance chasing about a lot of stuff that isn't even important at all, and especially about how the next president will actually govern. So, all of these new ideas, they all claim that we want them, but no one's pursuing them. At the same time, Dr. Krugman is pointing out, there's been a lot of old ideas that have really never gotten off the shelf, so to speak, that are really very, very good. One example of that was the Health Care Act, the Affordable Health Care Act and Affordable Care Act, which is referred to as Obamacare, which has been in countless countries, I believe 30 other countries, starting after World War II. We had actually something on the books. I believe that was from Krugman's article, Conscience of a Liberal, had something on the books for healthcare in 1948. Of course, it was vetoed, so to speak, by the Democrats who are in the South, who are now Republicans who are in the South, so to speak, because they didn't want black people going to white hospitals because hospitals were segregated at that time. But again, all other major countries have had health care for the last 50 or so years. It's not a new idea. It's an old idea, but it finally got implemented. And her ideas, even though they may not be new ideas, give a very good window as to how she would govern and why she would govern in the way that she is governed. Now, if we want to talk just a quick second about some of the new ideas from the GOP, I don't know how many I've really heard about. Of course, we had let's deport 11 million people. I don't know what a great idea that is. And Paul Ryan has recently indicated the hell with trying to pretend that we want to just have tax cuts to the rich. Let's just get it out there. Yes, that's all we want is tax cuts for the rich, whereby I believe his new proposal to make America great again, or to bring America back home, or whatever his little slogan is basically by 2025 to have the tax cuts basically help 99.6% of it is only to help the truly rich. That's his idea of how things go along. But what would actually happen in a Hillary Clinton administration? Well, number one, we would know that it would be technically a third term for the Obama administration, because she wants to continue with his policies and plans and enhance them. One example of that, again, it's an old idea, is, the Obamacare, when it first came out, it wasn't perfect. Things had to be done to get the votes, and we already know some of the problems that are going on with it. And what she would want to do is enhance the Affordable Care Act so that an additional 10 million people could be insured. What does our friend Trump want to do? He wants to get rid of about 20 million people who are currently on it, because he wants to cut it out tooth and nail. He wants us to cut out, as Ted Cruz has said, every single letter of the Affordable Care Act. But Hillary wants to keep it. What else is it showing that she wants to do? An old idea that's in many other countries that we're not doing dick about, that's really affecting the livelihood of a lot of Americans, and that is helping working parents. One of those is the 12-week annual paid family annual leave, or whatever that end of it is called. And if we compare that to, was it Ivanka's plan which Trump announced a couple weeks ago, which was basically giving tax credits to the rich for daycare because they were spending so much money on that. Now, what Hillary would like to do is to have universal preschool. She would like to have tax credits for child care for all Americans, not just for the super wealthy. And of course, here's a big question. Why is she doing it? Well, number one, she's a woman, but she also knows how much it affects working mothers and working fathers. Because if you look at the last couple Republicans, Trump never had to work a day in his life. He probably never changed a diaper. Romney never did. The two Bushes never did. Remember, Ronald Reagan in the early 1950s, I believe, was making $2,500 a week while he was on contract to one of the studios. They all had plenty of money. They didn't need to worry about child care like the average working Americans do now, because we know that child care itself, and Hillary pointed this out just a couple weeks ago, was that child care could cost as much as college for a lot of Americans. And what does she want to do? Give tax credits to all Americans for child care. And a big reason for that is that the percentage of working mothers in the United States has dramatically increased since 1975. 40 years ago, approximately 39% of mothers were working in the marketplace. Now it's over 64%. So it went from a little bit over a third to almost 2/3%. Dramatic increase in a very short period of time. So these are based, what Hillary is doing is basing these things on economic necessities. These are investments in America, not just now, but for the future, because these children will be the tax-paying people coming up later on. These are not necessarily brand new ideas. These are ideas that need to be put in place because they are working for all Americans, which is not what we are seeing from Mr. Trump on the other side. He's not making any attempt to do any type of thing to help and work for all Americans.